Hey you, are you ready? We are gonna go on a field trip today. We're gonna go on a field trip to a farm. Usually when people talk about farms, what do you think of first? Do you think of chickens and pigs and sheep and things like that? This isn't that kind of a farm. It's a different kind of a farm. If we were gonna get some popcorn, we would go to a corn farm. If we were gonna do French fries, we would go to a potato farm. That's where those kind of things come from. But today, we're going to an apple farm. An apple farm is called an apple orchard. And what we're going to do while we're here is we're going to talk about apples. This kind of apple is a green apple, and the tree that I'm standing by grows green apples. So you can't really see the apples up in the tree. I'm going to show you a little bit closer. Can you see those apples up there? They're growing up in the tree. Look how many there are. There's lots and lots of apples up in that tree. They look awesome, don't they? And they're so yummy. But we're going to talk for a few minutes about apples. Now, some of the things about apples, there's different kinds of apples. The apples in this tree are kind of a green-yellow apple. They're called a golden delicious apple. The apples that grow on other trees in the orchard are red apples. This one's called a Jonathan apple. There's even a different kind of red apple. This one is called a red delicious apple. Now, if you look really carefully at this apple, you can see that it has some spots and some stripes. It's a little bit different, isn't it? This one is a lot more red. This Jonathan is a lot more red. See how red that is? And it doesn't have hardly any spots on it. And this one is just green. It's kind of yellowy green. Not all the way green, but it's kind of yellowy green. And you know what? Apples are different, and we're going to talk a little bit about what apples are and how they work. The first thing we're going to talk about is the outside of an apple. Do you know what this is? This is called the apple skin. We're going to cut this apple, and we're going to see what's inside of it, okay? I've got a knife right here, and we're going to start right here at the stem part of the apple. And we're going to cut right through this apple, right through the stem. All the way through it. Okay. Now let's look inside. You've seen the inside of an apple before. The outside is the skin. This white part is called the flesh. And then right in the center is called the core. That's the apple core. That's where the seeds grow. And look, there's some little tiny pockets in there where the seeds are. That protects the seeds, so that when you get ready to take the seeds out and plant your own apple tree, you can. Now, the skin of the apple, a lot of people call it peelings, but the skin of the apple is a really important part of the apple. This is what protects the apple. It's kind of a little bit harder. The inside, the flesh part is soft and it's actually crunchy and juicy. But the outside protects it so that the bugs don't get into it. And sometimes, you know, worms do get in apples. Sometimes that happens because you've seen that before. But the skin makes it harder for the worms to get inside. Just like we have skin that protects our insides, the apples have skin to protect their insides. If there was no skin on this apple, the apple, all the juice would run out of it, and it would get all shrivelly and yucky, and we wouldn't want to eat it. Guess what else the skin does? If an apple falls out of a tree, it gets a little bruise. Have you ever fallen down and gotten a bruise? The apple protects the rest of the apple, so we can still eat it. We just have to cut the bruised part off of the apple. So apples are kind of made a little bit like people are. Is that kind of weird? You ever thought about apples like that? All right, we're going to talk a little bit more about the skin. This skin is kind of yellowish. Then remember, we had the red skin and we had the kind of reddish dotted skin. Do you know what? People are a little bit like apples. We have different kinds of skin. But you know what? They tell us a little bit about us. So I have white skin. That means that probably lots of my family has white skin too. Some people have brown skin. And that means a lot of their family probably has brown skin too. So it tells us a little bit about their family. Our insides are the same. We all have stuff inside of us that helps our body stay healthy, don't we? But you know what? The cool thing about it is all of us have things that are the same on the inside. Now, guess what is cool about apples? Inside of every single apple, there's a star. Have you ever seen a star inside of an apple? I'm going to show you about the star. I'm going to take my little knife right here. And remember last time when we cut the apple? We cut the apple on the stem side. This time, we're going to cut the apple right through the fat part. The stem's on this end. We're going to cut the apple through the fat part. Now look inside of there. Can you see the star inside of that apple? Did you know that every apple has a star? Let's try this red apple. Do you think it's going to have a star in it too? I didn't cut that one very straight. Let's fix that. Look at that. There's a star inside of the red apple too. So do you know what that means? There's a star inside of you. You are amazing, just like apples are. Every single person, no matter how we're different on the outside, we're the same on the inside. We're amazing. And we have special things that help protect us. Okay, let's talk a little bit more about the skin on the apple. The skin on the apple keeps out the worms. Do you know what our skin does? Our skin helps us to stay healthy. When we play outside, do we get germs on our hands? We can't see them, can we? But when we go inside and we start to eat, if we forget to wash our hands and we have germs on our hands and we pick it up and put it in our mouth, we put germs inside of our bodies. So is it important to wash our hands? That's a really important thing. It helps us stay healthy on the inside, doesn't it? That's what apples do. They have the same thing. The skin protects the inside of the apple so it stays nice and juicy. And it makes it really, really a yummy thing to eat, but it keeps the apples inside so that we can eat them and enjoy them. All right. This apple just got picked out of the tree. You can still see the leaf on it. Do you know what? When you pick apples at a farm, you have to use even a different kind of a ladder. This ladder right here, can you see there's the ladder part and there's a pole. It's called a pole ladder. Do you know why they use a pole ladder on a farm? It can go clear up inside of the tree. They can take the pole and put it around the tree so that when they climb up, they can pick all the apples that they need to. And the ladder's not in the way. So they have special kinds of equipment that they use when they pick the apples. They put them in boxes and then they take them to the stores. And guess what we get to do at the store? We get to buy them and we get to eat them. Do you love apples too? I think they're so yummy. And you can take them and you can make juice out of them. I'm going to pick some apples and I'm going to go home and I'm going to make some applesauce. And that's what I'm going to eat. All winter long, I'm going to have applesauce to eat. And you know what? If you don't have apples to pick, you can buy them at the store and make applesauce. There's lots of different kinds of apples. We talked about red apples and we talked about green apples. But there's apples at the store called Pink Lady and their skin's kind of reddish pinkish. Isn't that cool? There's so many different kinds of apples. And you know what? It's a good thing we have apple farms so people can pick them and take them to the store for us so we can eat them. I hope you have a chance today to find an apple and eat it. And I hope that you remember that inside of you is a star. You know what? I think before we go, we should really quickly sing the star song. Would you like to do it? If you want to see a star, look at me. If you want to see a star, look at me. I am special, you will see that there's no one quite like me. If you want to see a star, look at me. Did you sing it with me? Do it one more time because you're a star. You ready? If you want to see a star, look at me. If you want to see a star, look at me. I am special, you will see that there's no one quite like me. If you want to see a star, look at me. When you want to see a star, you can go look in the mirror and you can see a star. Have a great day and I will see you next time. Bye.